Hello friends, welcome back to your UPSC. Today we are going to start with part 2 of Physiography of India, and in it we are going to discuss the Great Northern Plain. So let's get started. So in Geography of India we are going to discuss Great Northern Plain of India. So these plains, they lie in the south of Himalayas and north of Peninsular Plateau. Okay, so these are Himalayan ranges. Okay, these are Himalayan ranges, and towards their south, this is our Peninsular Plateau. Okay, this is our plateau. These are our Himalayan ranges. This area is the Northern Plain. Okay, so it is sandwiched between Himalayas and Peninsular Plateau. Okay, now it is one of the, not even one of the, it is the largest alluvial tract of the world. Okay, so it is the largest alluvial tract of the world. Its length is about 3,200 kilometers, and the Indian tract is about 2,400 kilometers. Okay, its average width is 150 to 300 kilometers. Okay, so as we go from west to east, the width, it becomes narrower. Okay, in if we look in the west, it is average width. Okay, so if we look in the west, we have about 500 kilometers of width. Okay, and if we look into the narrow stretch of this track in Assam, it is about 80 kilometers. Okay, now the average width is 150 to 300 kilometers. Okay, and the area that it covers is 7.8 lakh square kilometers. Now all the rivers that are flowing, okay, they deposit their alluvial in this track. Okay, making this track one of the most fertile areas in the world. Okay, so it is very fertile area, and the rivers, they are basically mainly the one that are originating from Himalayas. Okay, so the Himalayan rivers and some of the peninsular rivers, which are not very important. Okay, Himalayan rivers are more important. Okay, so they actually, they collect their alluvial or this their sediments, and they collect their sediments in this plain, thus making this plain a very fertile one. Okay, now as we have discussed the introduction of Great Plains of India, now we will look into the origin of the plains. Okay, see, it is almost universally accepted that this vast plain has been formed as a result of filling up of deep depressions. Okay, so there was a deep depression formed between Himalayan mountain and Peninsular Plateau. Okay, and this deep depression was filled with alluvial. Okay, now this alluvial, which was this depression which was filled with alluvial, is what is known as the present Great Northern Plain. Okay, but there are divergent views which expresses the divergent views that are being expressed regarding the origin and filling of the Great Depression. Okay, so everyone is uh, approving that this is this plain is formed by collection of alluvial in this Great Depression, but the formation of Great Depression and the process of its filling are different. Okay, so different scholars have given their different concepts of filling and formation of this depression. Now we will look into various theories or various views that were given by different scholars for the formation of this depression and the filling of this. Okay, first concept was given by Wadia. Wadia actually, he postulated that these plains were originally a deep depression or furrow that was laying between peninsula and the mountain region. Okay, so there was a deep depression or the furrow that was laying between peninsula and mountain region. Okay, so this depression was filled by the rivers. Okay, then after this, Edward Swiss, who was a Austrian geologist, he suggested the concept of four deeps. Okay, so the concept of four deep, it says that it was formed in front of high crest wave of Himalayas. Okay, see, we have, during folding we have crest and troughs. Okay, now consider this crest as Himalayas. Okay, so these were Himalayas, and the four deep was formed in front of this crest. Okay, now this four deep, actually here it was a crest and this was a four deep, and this was stopped, or we can say it was checked by the not so flexible hard rock structure of peninsular plateau region of India. Okay, so peninsular plateau region of India. So because of which, see, during folding the compression started. Okay, so the crest was formed and the trough was formed. Okay, and this trough was deepened because here it struck with the hard rock structure of peninsular plateau. Okay, so this deep, four deep, is actually a trough. Okay, it is a large syncline in which the alluvial, which was brought by Himalayan rivers, okay, and the peninsular rivers were deposited. Okay, now because of the deposition in due course of time, what happened? This four deep was filled with alluvium, and the Great Plain of North India was formed. Okay, so this was filled with alluvium because of deposition of rivers from both sides. Okay, now this four deep, it rests on a crystalline rock structure, hard and crystalline rock structure, through which the region is connected with Himalayan and peninsular block. Okay, so this was given by Edward Swiss. This concept was given by Edward Swiss. Now the next concept was given by Sir Sidney Barrard. So Sir Sidney Barrard, he actually said that the Indo-Gangetic alluvial conceal is not a syncline. Okay, it is not a syncline, rather it is a great deep rift. Okay, so it is a rift, or we can say it is a fracture. So he gave the concept of folding. Edward Swiss, he gave the concept of folding, while Sidney Barrard, he gave the concept of faulting. Okay, so he said that the alluvium conceal is a great deep rift or a fracture in the Earth's subcrust. Okay, which, and this crest is several thousand meter deep. Okay, so it is like this. So this is our deep. Okay, now the hollow that is being created was sequentially filled by detritus. Okay, so because of fracture in the subcrust, the fault was formed. Okay, rift valley was formed, and this rift valley is what is filled by detritus. Okay, now, so this crack or this rift valley, what he called it as, this rift valley was about 2,400 kilometers long. Okay, so it was 2,400 kilometer long and 100 of meter deep. He find His finding actually was based on some of anomalies in the observation of deflection of plumb line and other geodetic consideration. Okay, now he has described that some other rift valleys of uh, Himalayan region, as well as rift valley of Narmada and Tapi in the peninsular India. He gave the example of these valleys, and he said that similar to them, this northern plain was also a rift valley, okay, which was afterward filled by alluvium, and that gave the birth to Great Northern Plain. Okay, so here the concept was of folding, and here Sir Sidney Barrard he gave the concept of faulting, but they were the historical concept. Now the most recent view that has been expressed is this northern plain is actually a sediment deposit at the bed of Tethys Sea. Okay, so this was Eurasian plate, this was Indian plate. Okay, peninsular Indian plate. Here in between there was Tethys Sea, and the Tethys Sea, the sediments were deposited by the rivers which were flowing through Eurasian plate and Indian plate. Okay, so this Tethys Sea was uh, the deposits were collected in Tethys Sea. Okay, now the bed of Tethys Sea was folded and warped due to northward drift of peninsula. So this peninsular region, it shifted northward, and because of the compressional force, the Tethys Sea, this is the Tethys Sea, it started folding. Okay, now because of the folding, the Himalayas were formed. Okay, so in folding we all know that there are anticlines and synclines are formed. Okay, so crest and troughs were formed, and these anticlines, they were Himalayas, and the syncline. Okay, so the synclinal valley in the south of Himalayas, they were forming what was later known as Great Northern Plain. Okay, so Great Northern Plain, it represents the infilling of four deep warped down between the advancing peninsular block and Himalayas. So from here the peninsular block was advancing, and here we had Himalayas. So the deep was formed, a syncline was formed, and this syncline was filled afterward. Okay, so it is a warped area. Okay, now the infilling in this warped area, or we can say the syncline, was done by deposition of detritus of mountain brought by numerous rivers that were emerging from them during the period of great gradational activity. Okay, so during the great gradational activity, the rivers flowing from Himalayas as well as the peninsular region, they deposited their detritus in this deep. Okay, so this actually, after several years, okay, it was filled up, and now recently it is known as the Great Plain of India. Okay, now as we have done the origin of plane, now we will look into the geomorphology of plane. So in geomorphology of plane, we know that there is a tendency amongst the geographers to treat the Great Plain of India as a monotonous one. Okay, so they treat the Great Plain of India as monotonous, flat, and featureless plain. But this plain has its own geomorphological varieties, which have been which have their own significance. Okay, so on the basis of various geomorphological features like nature of relief, soil structure, the Great Plain of India is divided into various parts. Okay, so the first one is Bhabar. Okay, the Bhabar is a narrow belt which is about 8 to 16 kilometers wide. Okay, and it is running in east to west direction along the foot of Shivalik. Okay, now this plain which runs from east to west, it has remarkable continuity from the Indus River to Tista River. Okay, now what happens? How the Bhabar is formed? So the rivers that are descending from Himalayas. Okay, so the river that are descending from Himalayas, having they are in their youth stage. Okay, now when the river is in its youth stage, it actually works as an aggressive erosional agent. Okay, now it works as erosional agent. Now because during the youth stage, the river, it actually cuts down the mountain, and it cuts down it into big boulders, cobbles, pebbles. Okay, so they are actually heavy stones. Okay, so as soon as the river it comes downhill, it deposits these big cobbles or big stones at the foothills of the mountain. Okay, now the it deposits it in the form of fan. Okay, so it is like this. So like this the river deposits its sediments. Okay, and these sediments are basically gravels and unescorted sediments which have been merged through the build. Okay, merged through the rivers, and this is what builds up Bhabar. Okay, now the Bhabar belt, it is formed in the northern boundary of Great Plain. Okay, so it is like Himalayas. So if this is Great Northern Plain, so this boundary will be of Bhabar. Okay, so this Bhabar is comparatively narrowed down in the east and extensive in the west, and this area is not suitable for agriculture. Only big trees with the having the large root thrives in this belt. Okay, and here the rivers, it flows in between the pebbles. Okay, so it forms rapids. Rapids are formed here, and the river, it is not seen on the top. Okay, so the surface of water is not seen. It runs within the sediments. Okay, then next we have Tarai region. Okay, Tarai region is formed from the Hindi word known as tar. Tar means wet. Okay, so this Tarai region is actually 15 to 30 kilometers wide. Okay, it is a marshy tract laying at the south of Bhabar. Okay, so after this, what happens? The speed of after the river crosses the Bhabar region, its speed slow down. Okay, so as soon as it enters plain, it spreads. Okay, so this area where the depth of the water is shallow and it is having great width. Okay, so this area is known as Tarai region. It is very marshy area, it is swampy area also. Okay, and it is a breeding ground for mosquitoes. Okay, because of formation of swarms. Okay, so this is Tarai region, and here the river re-emerges from the re-emerges from the underground stream. It was acting as an underground stream. Okay, and after this it re-emerges. Okay, so this area is very damp and it gives shelter to thick forest and variety of wildlife. The Tarai region is in marked more in eastern part than in the western part because the eastern part of the plain receives high amount of rainfall than their western counterpart. Okay, as we all know that western part is having desert region, and as we go to east, it is having high rainfall. It receives high rainfall and it is a marshy area. Okay, so the Tarai region is wide in the western part. Okay, so the most of the Tarai land are especially in Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand. They so these regions they have turned into agricultural land. Okay, and here the crops like sugarcane, rice, wheat, etc. are grown. Now next physiographic region that we have is ba- Banga or Bangar. So it is Bhangar, Bangar or Bangar. We can spell it both the ways. Now this actually it consists of old alluvium, okay, or we can say the alluvium of middle Pleistocene age. Okay, so old alluvium is deposited here. So this is the river, it flows. Okay, so it is flowing. Now what happens? It deposits its new alluvial near the banks. Okay, and the old alluvial is shifted. So this old alluvial is what is known as Bangar. Okay, now this old alluvium, it has most characteristic feature is the calcareous concentration, which is also known as kankar. Okay, so Bhangar, it contains kankar, and the remnant of Bhangar are eroded by the direction of river channels when their route changes or their level changes. So the river channel they erode the Bhangar area. Okay, so when the river is meandering, so if their route changes because of formation of oxbow lake or something like that, so their route changes and the Bhangar is eroded. Okay, now the next feature is in Khadar. Okay, so this was old alluvium and this is new alluvium. Okay, it is composed of newer alluvium and it forms the floodplain along the river banks. The new layer of alluvium is deposited by the river flood almost every year. Okay, so when the river is flooded, so the river it crosses its limit, so it moves to here, and because of which the sediments are deposited here. Okay, now as the flood is over, the river returns back to its original position, but these sediments they remain in the place, okay, or the terraces which were formed by river. Okay, so these terraces, they have the khadar or the new alluvial. The next in this khadar, it is the very fertile region. Okay, and we have clay, organic remnant. So clay is less in them, less in khadar. The organic remnant are present in them. Okay, the khadar, it it actually merges into deltic region, and we can find a great amount of khadar in the deltic region. Okay, so the delta area, which is in like Bay of Bengal, we can find the khadar. Okay, and this area is very fertile. Now the next is ray or color. Okay, so the ray or color, it comprises of barren saline area, which is found in dried area of Uttar Pradesh, Haryana. Okay, so the ray area has spreaded in recent time because of increase in irrigation. So because of increase in irrigation, the agriculture, we practice intensive agriculture. Okay, and in intensive agriculture we use great amount of fertilizers, great amount of pesticides. Okay, now because of use of extensive use of fertilizer, the salt content in the soil, it becomes very high. Okay, because of which the soil, it becomes infertile, and because of it becomes infertile, it is left barren by the farmers. Okay, and this barren land is what is known as ray. Lastly, we have boor. Boor, it denotes an elevated piece of land situated along the bank of Ganga river, especially in the upper Ganga and Yamuna Doab. Okay, so this has been formed due to accumulation of wind blow sand due to hot dry months of the year. So the sand dune type of thing is formed in the Ganga Yamuna Doab region. Okay, so this feature that is formed is known as bhoor. Okay, it is formed due to erosional work of wind. So wind actually it takes away the dried area and it dried soil, and it deposits it in the form of bhoor. Okay, so this was geomorphology of the plain. Now we will look into regional division of Great Plains. Okay, so the Great Plains in India are treated as a geographical unit with low elevation and gentle slopes. Okay, this vast area, it exhibits distinctive fluvial pattern, direction of the flow of rivers. Okay, geomorphology in different part. So it has different geomorphology in different part, and on that basis, it is divided into four major regions. Okay, so the four major regions are: first is the Rajasthan plain, second is Punjab Haryana plain, then third is Ganga plain, and lastly we have Brahmaputra plain. Okay, talking about the first one, that is Rajasthan plain. The Rajasthan plain, it is on the western extremity of the Great Plain of India, and it consists of Great Indian Desert, that is Thar Desert. Its length is about 650 kilometers, and its width is 250 to 300 kilometers wide. Okay, and it covers the western area of Rajasthan. Okay, so this is Aravalli. So the western area, if we consider this as Rajasthan, so these are Aravalli, and the western area, it is Thar Desert. Okay, so we have Rajasthan and some part of Pakistan, which are covered with Thar Desert. Okay, now the area of this great desert is about 2 lakh square kilometer, and the Indian part, it consists of 1.75 lakh square kilometer area. Okay, now the two-third of Indian desert, it lies in Rajasthan, which is in which is located in west of Aravalli ranges. Okay, so the western Rajasthan, it consists of Thar Desert. Now remaining is one third of the desert is covered in, we have Haryana, Punjab, and in south we have Gujarat. Okay, so the states which are influenced by this desert are Haryana, Punjab, Gujarat, and most importantly Rajasthan. Okay, so these are the four states. Now the desert is properly known as Marusthali region. Okay, so Marusthal is what is Hindi word for desert. Okay, so the if we consider this as the desert, its western part, this is whole Thar desert. Okay, so its western part, it consists of both sandy desert as well as rocky desert. Okay, and the eastern part, it is semi-arid region, and it consists of the old Bangar. Bagar. Okay, so it is known as Rajasthan Bagar. So it is a semi-arid region. It runs in northeast to southwest direction from the edge of Aravalli in the east to 25 centimeter isoheight. Isoheight is actually a line which joins the area having similar type of rainfall. Okay, and contours are the one which joins the area having similar height. Okay, so this is about Rajasthan plain. Then we have Punjab Haryana plain. Okay, so after the Rajasthan plain, or we can say the Great Indian Desert, we have fertile plain of Punjab and Haryana, which lies towards the east and northeast part. Okay, now the length of this area is 640 kilometers and the width of this area is 300 kilometers. Okay, so it is 640 kilometers in length and it is 300 kilometers wide. So the total area of this plain is about 1.75 square kilometer. Now, its eastern boundary in Haryana is formed by Yamuna River, and the average elevation of this plain is about 250 meters above the mean sea level. So it is 250 meters above mean sea level. Okay. Now, if we talk about its northern part, it is nearly 300 meters above mean sea level, and it drops to 200 meter when it reaches its southeast extension. Okay. Now, the part of the plain is formed as a result of alluvium deposit from 5 rivers. Okay, so it is alluvium deposit from 5 rivers, and these 5 rivers are Satluj, Beas River, Ravi, Chenab, and Jhelum. Okay, all these 5 rivers are the tributaries of Indus River. Okay, so it is easy to learn them. Satluj, Beas, Ravi, Chenab, Jhelum. Okay, and this plain, which is formed by the 5 rivers, so it is known as Punjab. Okay, and Punjab, if we dissect it, it is formed by two words, that is Punch. Punch means 5, and Ab means water. So 5 rivers, they deposit in this plain, and this plain, they deposit their alluvium in this plain, because of which this plain is known as Punjab. Okay, now this Punjab and the whole Punjab Haryana plain, it is primarily made up of doab. Okay, so the doabs are actually, do means two, okay, and ab means water. Okay, same. So these are the plains that are formed by deposition of two rivers. Okay, now looking from west to east, we have in total five doabs in Punjab Haryana plain. So the first one is Bisht Jalandhar Doab. So Bisht Jalandhar Doab, it lays between Bias and Satluj. Then we have Bari. Bari Doab, it lays between Bias and Ravi. Okay. Then we have Rachna Doab, that is between Ravi and Chenab. Then we have Charj Doab. Charj Doab is between Chenab and Jhelum. Then we have Sindh Sagar Doab, which is between Jhelum, Chenab, and Indus River. Okay, so the Sindh Sagar Doab, it is formed by three rivers. Okay, so the depositional process by the river, they continue since long and has united these doabs. Okay, and these doabs, they have united and they have formed the great Punjab Haryana plain. So this Punjab Haryana plain, they are actually quite fertile area, because of which we have quite intensive and extensive agriculture in these region. Okay, so this region have rich farmer area, and this is why these region are known as grain basket of India. Okay, now as we have done Punjab Haryana plain, now we will look into Ganga plain. So the Great Indian Plain, the greatest area is covered by Ganga Plain. Okay, it covers the area of about 3.75 square kilometers, and it stretches from Delhi to Kolkata, Calcutta. Okay, and in between them there are the state of UP, Bihar, and West Bengal. Okay, now Ganga is a master river after whose name this plain is named. Okay, so the main depositional function in this area is done by Ganga river. Okay, now the Ganga has large number of tributaries that are originating from Himalayan range. Okay, so we have Yamuna, Gomti, Ghaggar, Gandak, Koshi, etc. And these rivers, they bring with them a huge amount of alluvial which from the mountain. Okay, and they deposit them in this extensive plain. Okay, and because of their deposition, as well as the deposition of peninsular rivers such as Chambal, Betwa, Ken, Son, etc., which joins Ganga river from the south. Okay, so because of their deposition, the Ganga plain is formed. Now, depending upon the geographical variation in this area is divided into, further subdivided into three divisions. Okay, so the three divisions are, first is Upper Ganga Plain, then second is Middle Ganga Plain, and lastly we have Lower Ganga Plain. Okay, so the Upper Ganga Plain, it comprises of upper part of Ganga Plain, and this is delimited by 300-meter contour line in Shivalik in the north and the peninsular boundary in the south. So we have 300-meter contour line and then peninsular region in the south. Okay. Then we have Yamuna River in the west, and the eastern boundary, they are obscure. Okay, so they are controversial topic. So this is the Upper Ganga Plain. Now some of the people, they consider 100-meter iso height line as its eastern boundary. Okay. Now, this plain, it is drained by Ganga and its tributaries like Yamuna, Ramganga, Sharda, Gomti, Ghaggar. Okay, and almost all rivers they flow in northwest to southeast direction. Okay, so we have in it Tarai region and Bhabar region. Then we have some of oxbow lakes, levees, abundant river courses, and sandy stretches of Bhur. So we have many geomorphological features in Upper Ganga Plain. Next, we will look into Middle Ganga Plain. So this Middle Ganga Plain, it occupies eastern part of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Okay, it measures about 600 kilometers wide. Sorry, it is 600 kilometers in length, running from east to west, and nearly 330 kilometers from north to south. Okay, and the plain, the Upper Ganga Plain, it is 550 kilometers in length, and from east to west direction they are 550 kilometers, and from north to south they are 380 kilometers wide. So now this Middle Ganga Plain, it has area of about 1.44 square kilometers. Okay, and its northern and southern boundaries are well defined by Himalayan foothills and peninsular edges. Okay, and this region it is drained by Ghaggar, Gandak, Kosi river and all the tributaries of Ganga which are coming from Himalayas. Okay, so these rivers are responsible for filling up the alluvial deposition of 2000-meter deep trough at the foot of Nepal Himalayas. Okay, and these they flow sluggishly in these flatland, as a result of which the area is marked by local prominence of levees, bluffs, oxbow lakes, marshes, tulls, and riverines, etc. Okay, so this was Middle Ganga Plain. Now, lastly, we have Lower Ganga Plain. Lower Ganga Plain, it includes Kishanganj Tehsil of Bihar and the whole of West Bengal, excluding the mountainous part of Darjeeling and Purulia district of West Bengal. Okay, so Darjeeling and Purulia districts, excluding these two districts, the Darjeeling district also the mountainous part. Okay, the mountainous part of Darjeeling district and the Purulia district, except for these two, the whole of West Bengal and Kishanganj Tehsil of Bihar are included in this Lower Ganga Plain, and with them the some part of most of the part of West Bengal is also included. So it measures about 580 kilometers from the foot of Darjeeling Himalayas in the north to the Bay of Bengal in the south, and it is nearly 200 kilometers from Chota Nagpur Highland in the west to Bangladesh border in the east. Okay, so it is 200 kilometers wide and 580 kilometers long. Okay, now the total area of this plain is about 81,000 square kilometer, and its width it narrows down to near 16 kilometers between Rajmahal Hills and Bangladesh border. Okay, now the northern part of this plain has been formed by sedimentation deposit of Tista River, Trosa and Jaldaka. Okay, beside this area is marked by dwars. Okay, so we have dwars, that is Darjeeling Tarai region. Okay, and the seaward facing region is delta region. Okay, so this delta region in this lower Ganga plain has large number of estuaries, mud flats, mangrove swamps, sandbanks, islands, and forelands. Okay, and the large part of the coastal delta is covered by thick impenetrable tidal forest. Okay, so we have thick impenetrable tidal forest in the lower Ganga plain, the seaward side of lower Ganga plain. Okay, and this thick impenetrable forest is what is called as Sundarban. Okay, so the Sundarban forests are on Sundarban delta, and here we have predominance of Sundari trees. Okay, so we have Sundari trees here. Lastly, we have Brahmaputra Plain. Brahmaputra Plain, it is also known as Brahmaputra Valley, Assam Valley, or Assam Plain, as the most of the Brahmaputra Valley is situated in Assam. Okay, so it is often treated as the eastern continuation of Great Plain of India, and it is well demarcated physical unit which is guarded by eastern Himalayas of Arunachal Pradesh in the north, Patkai and Naga Hills in the east, and Garo Khasi Jayanta and Mikir Hills in the south. Okay, the western boundaries is formed by Indo-Bangladesh border as well as the boundary of Lower Ganga Plain. Okay, so the Lower Ganga Plain. After that, we have Assam Plain or Brahmaputra Plain. Now, it extends from the easternmost end of Assam near the syntaxial bend. So we have syntaxial bend, okay, of the eastern Himalayas to the west of Dubri near the Bangladesh border. It is about 720 kilometers long and its average width is 60 to 100 kilometers. So this is its width and its length is 720 kilometers. Okay, so this is the Brahmaputra plain, and this plain is basically formed by a gradational work of Brahmaputra river. And the Brahmaputra river, it has many channels that gives the birth to river meandering, okay, which forms bills and oxbow lakes. Okay, it has large marshy tract in these areas. The alluvial fens are also formed by porous alluvial debris which are deposited by Brahmaputra river, which leads to the formation of porous alluvial or semi-terai region condition. Okay. Now, as we have seen the physical division or geographical division of this area, this plain, now we will look into significance of Great Northern Plain of India. But before that, we will mark these areas on the map. So, if we talk about Great Northern Plain, they are sandwiched between the Peninsular Plateau and Himalayan region. Okay, so between them we have like starting from here and moving through these states in Nepal, then Assam, this is about North Ganga Plain, Lower Ganga Plain. Okay, it's more in Madhya Pradesh and it shallows down. And it is in, yeah. So this is the Great Northern Plain of India. Okay, now dividing it into the regional parts, okay, or regional division, we can say this is our Rajasthan plain, which so here we have Aravalli ranges. Okay, so the western part is the desert region. Okay, so it is a desert region which is also known as Thar Desert. So it consists of some part of Punjab, Haryana, and most of the part of like two-thirds of its area is in Rajasthan, and we have some parts of Gujarat in it. Okay, so this is like this. So this is our Rajasthan plain. Next we have Punjab Haryana plain. So Punjab Haryana plain, it is one of the fertile region of northern plain. Okay, so it is Punjab Haryana plain. Then after that we have long stretch of Ganga till Assam. Okay, till Brahmaputra Assam. So this is our Ganga plain, which is drained by the tributaries of Ganga as well as Ganga. So the tributaries which are coming from the north as well as the peninsular tributaries of Ganga, they deposit their sediment in this region, and this region is formed by their deposition. So this Ganga plain, it is divided into four basic regions. So first one is Upper Ganga plain, Upper Ganga plain. Then we have Middle Ganga plain. So the Middle Ganga plain is the longest one. Okay, and here we have rigorous deposition. Okay, and here we have very deep Nepal depression. Okay, and this is also filled by the deposition of alluvium from the northern rivers. Okay, because northern rivers, they are in their youth stage. Okay, so they actually cut down huge amount of rocks and they deposit it in this depression. Lastly, we have Lower Ganga plain. Lower Ganga plain, it comprises of it comprises of all the parts of West Bengal except for two districts and Bangladesh as well as Kishanganj Tehsil of Bihar. Okay, so this is Lower Ganga Plain, and this Lower Ganga Plain, it is having the most special feature, that is Sundarban forest. Okay, now lastly we have Brahmaputra Plain. Okay, which stretches in Assam. Okay, so in Assam we have Brahmaputra Valley, and this whole is covered by the sediment deposit of Brahmaputra. Okay, so this was the location of the Great Northern Plain. Okay, now we will look into significance of Northern Plain. So the Northern Plain, they have fertile alluvial soil, flat surface, and slow-moving perennial rivers. Along with it, they have favorable climate, and because of which the about half of the total population of India is habitat or is living in this one-fourth area of the country. So if this is the whole country, then one-fourth area is covering or is inhabiting the half of the population of total country. Okay, so because this area is so fertile, it provides food. Okay, because we have agricultural practices, because it is fertile area. Okay, then we have occupation. So this area has great occupation because we have good amount of raw material which can be produced by agriculture. So we have many agro-based industries which are established here. Okay, and as these areas are irrigated by rivers, okay, so it has huge amount of irrigation. So we have quite extensive and intensive agriculture in this area. So the because of being drained by so much rivers, we have states like Punjab, Haryana, and western part of Uttar Pradesh, which are especially these three. They are known as granary of India or food basket of India. Okay, so most of the food demand are uh, completed. They are satisfied by these agriculture produce of Great Northern Plain. Okay. Now after that, except for desert, we have close network of road and railways which leads to large scale industrialization as well as urbanization of these areas. Okay. And because we have quite a lot of occupation, we have quite a huge amount of population that is attracted towards these areas. Okay, and apart from this area is very sacred as well. Okay, so the rivers like Yamuna and Ganga, they are very dear rivers to Hindus, as they have as has been stated in Vedas. Okay, so they are sacred rivers. Now along with it, various religions like Buddhism, okay, Mahavira, Bhakti movement, as well as Sufism or Sufi movement have been flourished or have flourished from this region only. Okay, so this region, in short, we can say it is a vast plain which supports even more vast population of the country. Okay, and it provides them with food, shelter, occupation. Okay, and along with it, we have religious connection with these areas also. Okay, so this area is basically a heartthrob of India, which constitutes its very soul. So simply we can say that this region is the soul of our country. Okay, so this was all about the Great Northern Plain of India. So that was all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's lecture. Let's meet in our next class. Till then, take care and have a nice day.